地に落ちたか。愛禅、おごりが過ぎるぞ、浮竹。最初から誰も天に立ってなどいない。君も僕も神すらも。
So, Ukitake is, one of those characters you like, but you don't remember exactly why you like them. One of those characters are strong, but why was he strong again? I thought he was important, but felt kinda underwhelming. Now, don't you worry, because today I am going to be the personification of all of your feelings regarding Ukitake. Let's dive in. As one of my favorite characters, I always thought that Ukitake was destined for greatness, and Kubo kept promising with stuff that Ukitake is going to be healed for the last arc, but he never delivered. Now, I am going to discuss his character in separate categories: strength and importance to the story. Let's dive in. Now, regarding how strong he was, we don't have much to go off. It's simple. So we need to examine every single detail. Now, Ukitake was one of the personal students of the former captain of Gotei 13, Yamamoto, alongside the current captain commander and former captain of 8th Division, Shunsui. Now, the two of them were described as A-grade students in the Shinigami Academy, with the only people having better student portrayal than them being the geniuses Kaien Shiba, Ichimaru Gin, and of course Hitsuya Toshiro. Now, according to the official character book Mask 2, his Reiatsu is unmatched by his peers or predecessors, and according to Yamamoto, Ukitake's own sensei, his and Shunsui's fighting skills are transcendent and unmatched. So, their teacher, the dude who knows them best, says that Ukitake has something, whatever that is, that could match Kyoraku's broken Bankai. Now, maybe it's Ukitake's own Bankai, maybe it's his Shikai as well, that could, for example, absorb other people's Shikai, as it is the case with it in a certain game. However, that is not considered canon for now. Or maybe it's just Ukitake's massive Reiatsu pool, which, as we learned in the Thousand Years Blood War arc, is higher than that of any other living captain, including freaks like Byakuya, who came from Royal Guard training, Kyoraku Shunsui himself, and the awakened end of series Zaraki Kenpachi. However, since Ukitake uses most of his Reiatsu to support his sick body, and not for fighting, that's not always attributed to his fighting prowess. However, since we know that Reiatsu is king in Bleach, that would mean that Ukitake has higher peak attack power than any other living captain during the final arc. Just imagine Ukitake releasing all of his Reiatsu for one final attack and one-shotting almost any non-transcendent being he wants to. Something like a mini final Getsuga Tensho, if you will. Now, his off-screen feats and hype are way better than what's shown on-screen. It's basically like two different characters, And first, we get to see Ukitake fighting off against the Hole that possessed Kaien. And Ukitake, let's say that he looks kinda underwhelming, to say the least. He starts coughing blood and shows that he isn't a reliable fighter, even against a Hole that's not exactly top tier, even though the Hole had access to Kaien's fighting abilities, which were no joke. Then, after a deceptively decent showing where Ukitake shows that obviously he could keep up with Stark's speed, he got blitzed by Wonderwise. And even though Ukitake was kinda with his pants down, not expecting the child-walking hoe to rip a hole through his chest. Now, to Ukitake's defense, it looked like Shunsui was shocked as well, so most likely the result would have been the same if Wonderwise went for Kyoraku. Anyway, that was the end for Ukitake, since Wonderwise's attack triggered his weak spot, which is blood. Yeah. Now, just for a second, I want you to compare that to Ukitake's off-screen battles. Ukitake was able to attack alongside Shunsui against serious Shikai Yamamoto. Now, it was implied that Yamamoto really wanted to punish them, so it's really impressive that at the end of the fight, Shunsui and Ukitake had only minor bruises, fighting against the strongest offensive Zanpakuto in the face of Ryujin Jaka. Another testament to Ukitake's immense fighting prowess is the fact that during the first Quincy invasion, Ukitake was there to face one of the Stern Ritters. Now, what's impressive here is that Ukitake most likely fought even stronger opponent than Shunsui did and received even minor injuries than the then 8th Division captain. So, Ukitake's opponent was most likely the future elite member, Askin. Now, unlike the other candidate, which is Nyanzo, or however you pronounce that, Askin was actually confirmed as participant during the first invasion. His hairstyle length also matches this more than Nyanzo, plus Nyanzo doesn't really have a collar on his robe. Now, for the people who will say it's not in Askin's style to go and fight an elder captain, well, that's true, but it's also in Askin's style to just leave a fight with tough opponent unfinished, as it did happen. So, at the one hand, you have all the hype about Ukitake's Reiatsu and fighting capabilities from people like Yamamoto himself and Nanao. Then we have him prove it in off-screen battles against Yamamoto and Askin. So yeah, despite his bad on-screen showings, he does have impressive off-screen feats, and I find it really disingenuous when some people even try and portray him as mid-tier captain, because Ukitake is for sure one of the strongest Gotei 13 captains, even though he kinda lacks feats. Now, story-wise, here is where the situation falls even more apart. So, Ukitake, he's not what we were promised. First, he started off strong by being the Rukia's captain and being the initiator to try and save her from execution. Then, when Aizen, Tozen and Gin were leaving Soul Society, every single one of them had a conversation with the respective Soul Reaper. And for some reason, Ukitake was Aizen's counterpart. Later off, we kinda learn what that is after hundreds of chapters. Now, Ukitake was chosen for a dialogue option with Aizen concerning the Soul King since, well, Ukitake has a pretty big part of the Soul King keeping him alive. Now, that's a big role to play, but it went unexplored. Even Ukitake's significance in possibly saving Ichigo's life became clear in the novels, not in the manga. In Can't Fear Your Own World, Ichibei makes a mention that he was planning on making Ichigo take the place of the Soul King, in case Yhwach succeeded in killing him. So, not only did Ukitake kinda save Ichigo's life, but he did actually save the world. When Ukitake released Mimihagi, Yhwach had already won by that point, with the Soul King being dead. However, seeing Mimihagi kinda made Yhwach panic, and he absorbed the Soul King's body plus Mimihagi, which allowed for Ichibei to after that use Yhwach's body as a replacement for the Soul King. So Ukitake saved the day. Now, we still got stuff like what are the true capabilities of Ukitake's Shikai, Ukitake's Bankai, and his true colors, but I doubt that we'll ever get it. I just don't think that the Hell arc is going to be materialized. However, if it does, how cool would it be to see full-powered Hell Ukitake finally relieved of his sickness, unleash his true power and fight against former comrades, possibly against his best friend. But only time will tell. Thank you for watching.